Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're jumping straight into something that's, well, it's everywhere, isn't it? Artificial intelligence.
Absolutely. It's really woven into our daily lives now.
Totally. Like, think about online recommendations or even how some medical stuff works behind the scenes.
Right. And it's changing so fast.
Yeah.
Industries, jobs, even like creativity.
It's definitely a powerful force.
Right.
And you know what they say about great power.
Comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
Exactly. And AI, it's really not science fiction anymore. It's very much present tense.
So what's our mission with this deep dive? What are we trying to unpack?
Well, we want to cut through some of the noise, use our sources to understand what AI really is,
Yeah.
how it's being used right now, the tricky ethical bits, and maybe where it's all heading.
And tackle those big questions people have.
Yeah, the one straight from the research. Is AI going to take our jobs? Can it actually get smarter than humans?
And that underlying feeling, should we be, like, excited or worried?
Yeah.
Or both?
Or maybe a bit of both is the most realistic view. So, yeah, let's dig in. It should be an insightful exploration.
Okay, let's do it. So when we talk about AI, it's not just one thing, is it? It sounds like there are different categories.
That's a really key point to start with. Yeah. Fundamentally, AI is about machines doing tasks that, well, normally need human intelligence.
Like learning or solving problems.
Exactly. Learning, problem solving, understanding language. But the big split, which our sources really emphasize, is between what we actually have widespread now and the stuff that's more theoretical still. Right now, we're mostly dealing with narrow AI, artificial narrow intelligence.
Okay, narrow AI. So that's the AI built for just one specific job?
Precisely.
Like the algorithm figuring out what movie I might want to watch next.
No.
Or my phone's voice assistant.
Exactly right. Think of narrow AI as a specialist, a hyper specialist sometimes.
Better than humans at that one thing, maybe?
Often, yeah. Much better in its specific narrow domain. Playing chess, recognizing a face in a photo, filtering spam emails, even, writing text like some of these newer chatbots.
Wow.
But and this is the key part, they don't have general understanding or common sense.
So the chess AI can beat a grandmaster,
Right.
but it couldn't, like, tell you how to boil an egg.
Yeah.
Or understand why a joke is funny.
Exactly. It has no concept outside its programming.
Okay. And then there's the other stuff, the more ambitious ideas.
Right. So beyond narrow AI, we get into the theoretical concepts. First is general AI, or AGI, artificial general intelligence.
AGI, that sounds more like the AI from movies.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
AGI would, in theory, be able to understand, learn, and apply intelligence across basically any intellectual task a human can do.
Any task. Wow.
That's the idea. And then even beyond that, there's the concept of superintelligent AI,
Which would be?
an intellect that's vastly smarter than the best human minds across pretty much every field.
Okay. That's starting to sound a bit scary.
Well, for now, both AGI and superintelligence are very much in the realm of advanced research, speculation, and frankly, philosophical debate. Huge hurdles to overcome there.
Right. So mostly we're living with and interacting with narrow AI.
Overwhelmingly, yes.
It's pretty amazing how seamlessly that narrow AI is integrated, though. Sometimes you don't even realize it's there.
Mm-hmm.
Can we sort of pull back the curtain on some less obvious examples?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of your day involves AI without you maybe thinking about it. It's not just recommendations. Think about global shipping.
Well,
AI is constantly optimizing logistics routes, predicting potential delays with incredible accuracy, figuring out the most efficient way to move stuff around the planet.
no. Never thought about that.
Or in finance, banks use AI to spot really complex fraud patterns in millions of transactions, like instantaneously. Stuff a human could never catch that quickly.
Right. Makes sense. In customer service, too, those chatbots are getting much better.
They really are. They're not just matching keywords anymore. They use sophisticated natural language processing, NLP. Yeah, often built on deep learning. It helps them understand the context of what you're saying, the intent behind it.
Mm-hmm.
It makes the conversation feel, well, surprisingly natural sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes less so.
Ah, true. But the potential is there. And where it's really transformative, according to our sources, is in science, especially fields like medicine or materials science.
How so?
Well, AI can chew through enormous data sets. Think genomic sequences, chemical structures, research papers.
Data sets humans just couldn't process.
Not at that scale or speed, no. AI finds patterns, connections, anomalies that accelerate discoveries, like finding potential candidates for new drugs way faster than before. It's slashing development timelines.
But that ability to find meaning in just massive amounts of data, that's
Yeah.
huge. It's like a superpowered research assistant.
It really is, reading millions of papers in like minutes and understanding the key points.
Amazing.
And maybe surprisingly, AI is even making inroads into creative fields now.
You mean like AI art?
Exactly. Powerful generative AI systems, creating images from text prompts or composing music, even writing poetry or scripts.
Which raises all sorts of interesting questions about what creativity is, doesn't it? Human versus algorithm.
It certainly does, and that brings us neatly into some of the big challenges and concerns around AI. The potential is obviously massive, but there are real complexities.
Definitely. Where do we start there?
Well, one of the absolute core challenges, highlighted again and again in the sources, is about data, specifically data quality and representation.
Meaning,
AI systems learn from the data you feed them. So if that data reflects existing societal biases or historical inequalities,
AI just learns those biases too.
it can, yes, it can inadvertently bake them in or even make them worse.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Think about using AI for hiring. If you train it on past hiring data, and historically, maybe certain groups were underrepresented in leadership roles, the AI might learn implicitly to favor candidates who look like the historical majority, not because it's trying to be biased, but just because that's the pattern in the data it learned from.
Wow. Okay, I see.
And we've seen similar issues pop up in things like loan applications, sometimes even medical diagnosis tools, if the training data wasn't really carefully checked for fairness and diversity.
So it's not the AI being unfair on purpose, it's just reflecting the data it got.
Precisely.
Okay.
Which puts a huge responsibility back on the humans designing and training these systems.
Absolutely. Okay, another big one, the one that always comes up, jobs. Is AI going to take all our jobs?
Right. It's a really complex question, and the sources we looked at have different takes, different nuances.
No simple yes or no.
Definitely not. I mean, history shows technology always changes the job market, right? Think about the shift from farms to factories or manual bookkeeping to spreadsheets.
Sure. Some jobs disappear and new ones get created.
Exactly. And the consensus with AI seems to be that tasks which are very routine, predictable, repetitive, those are the ones most likely to be automated first.
So things like data entry, maybe some assembly line work, maybe parts of trucking or basic customer support.
That seems to be the thinking, yes. But crucially, the same sources talk about new jobs emerging because of AI.
Like what?
Things like AI trainers, people who help teach the AI,
Yeah.
prompt engineers figuring out how to ask the AI the right questions to get good results, data ethicists, people who manage AI systems.
So it's more about a shift, a transformation of work.
That seems to be the dominant view. Less about total elimination, more about transformation and the need for, reskilling and adapting the workforce. How do we prepare people for the jobs AI creates or changes?
That makes sense. It's a transition we need to manage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, another challenge that feels very current, deepfakes. And just AI generating text that sounds completely real. How do we tell what's real anymore?
That's a huge one for trust and information. It's getting harder. As the AI gets better at making fake audio, video, text that looks and sounds totally convincing, figuring out what's genuine is a major challenge. Interestingly, one solution people are working on is, well, it's using more AI.
Fighting fire with fire.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Developing AI tools that are really good at detecting deepfakes or spotting AI-generated misinformation in real time. It's becoming a bit of an arms race, digitally speaking.
It feels like it. And then there's the really big, almost philosophical fear, the one sci-fi loves. What if AI gets too smart, too powerful, the superintelligence thing?
Right, the control problem or the alignment problem. How do you make sure that if we ever do create super powerful AI, it stays aligned with human values and goals? That it doesn't, go rogue.
The Skynet scenario.
Basically, yeah. Now, again, this is largely theoretical given where AI is today, but researchers are already thinking about it. How do you build in safety switches, transparency, ethical guidelines from the ground up?
So trying to be proactive about it.
Exactly. Designing for safety before it potentially becomes an issue.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit, looking forward. Where do the sources suggest AI is actually heading? What are some of the exciting future possibilities?
The future picture is definitely one of AI becoming even more integrated, more capable. Imagine, like, truly proactive personal assistants.
More than just setting timers.
Oh, yeah. Assistants that anticipate what you need before you ask, manage complicated parts of your schedule or life, maybe even deliver personalized education tailored exactly to how you learn. Way beyond what we have now.
That sounds incredibly useful. Maybe slightly unnerving, too, depending on how it's done.
Yeah, there's always that balance. But think beyond personal convenience, too. The potential for accelerating science is just
Like
immense.
a drug discovery example.
Yes, but broader. AI systems that could design completely new materials with specific properties we need, say, for better batteries or superconductors,
Well,
or optimizing complex systems like global energy grids for maximum efficiency,
okay, that's huge.
or even helping us understand the human brain better by analyzing incredibly complex neural data. And in space, AI sorting through telescope data, finding exoplanets or weird cosmic events humans might miss.
That's the kind of stuff that makes you really optimistic, right? AI aimed at solving genuinely big, hard problems for humanity.
Absolutely. And then, sort of looping back to the more speculative end, there's that concept of the singularity.
Right, the point where AI starts improving itself faster and faster.
Exactly. A theoretical point of runaway technological growth where AI intelligence just skyrockets exponentially, potentially far beyond our ability to even comprehend it.
And how do people view that prospect? Exciting, terrifying.
Both, really. Some see it as this potential gateway to an unimaginable era of progress, solving aging, disease, interstellar travel, who knows. Others are deeply cautious, stressing the absolute need for rock-solid safety and ethics before we ever get close to something like that. Making sure it benefits humanity doesn't harm it.
It's definitely a mind-bending idea whenever or if ever it happens. So we've covered a lot of ground here. The current reality of narrow AI, the future dreams of AGI, the amazing applications, but also some pretty serious challenges and ethical questions. After digging into all this, where do you land? Feeling more optimistic or more cautious?
I think I land firmly in both. It's
Mhm.
impossible to ignore the incredible positive potential AI has, especially, like we said, for tackling those huge global challenges, climate, health, resource management.
Right.
But at the same time, you can't just blindly charge ahead. Responsible development is absolutely critical. We need that focus on transparency, on fairness, on setting up guardrails and guidelines.
So the potential is huge, but only if we manage it wisely.
Exactly. That's how we make sure it actually serves humanity's interests and doesn't accidentally create new problems or make existing ones worse.
It really brings it back to us, doesn't it?
Mm.
AI is this incredibly powerful tool.
And like any tool, its impact, good or bad, depends entirely on how we, as people, as societies, decide to build it and use it.
A really important point to end on.
So maybe a final thought for you listening in. As you think about everything we've discussed, the AI in your pocket, the generative art, the medical potential, even the wild idea of the singularity. Just consider this. What specific use of AI, maybe something that exists now or something still totally theoretical, what application either really excites you the most or maybe gives you the biggest pause for concern, and why?
Yeah, and building on that, how can we collectively make sure that as AI keeps evolving and becoming even more embedded in our lives, it consistently stays focused on benefiting people, on serving humanity's best interests?
Something to chew on.